What company policy at your job might actually be illegal? Worked at a law firm. Attorneys were salary and support staff was hourly. They required all employees to clock out anytime they went to the restroom. Attorneys didn't care because they were salary. Support staff didn't object because they didn't want to risk the jobs. Young female attorney starts. They of course don't mention that during the interview process. Orientation they mention it and she laughs because she thinks they are joking. Within a couple of weeks HR approaches her because we noticed you're not clocking out for your restroom breaks. She tries to explain very calmly that 1, it's illegal and 2, what's the point? Shh, salary. They keep insisting that she has 2. All of a sudden she bellows, you don't need to know how long my poos take. They didn't bother her again. Edit, the icing on the cake. It was an employment law firm. So yeah. Edit 2. 9 out of 10 times HR is not there to help you. They are there to limit the company's liability. They are not there to help you with a grievance. Lolo man, trying to pull HR bull on lawyers? I would love to be a fly on the wall and have some popcorn for that, after all the things I've read in this thread. I got pulled into my manager's office at a retail job one time after one of the new hires told me that they were getting paid more than I was, as I was training him. I was pretty pissed off and I wasn't quiet about it, so he informed me that it was against company policy to discuss our wages. I told him that that was illegal and he just stared at me like I wasn't supposed to know that. Yeah, this here. It's illegal, but a lot of retail places push that narrative to scare people. I've been in situations where I'm at say a level 8 pay grade and a level 4 pay grade was hired at the same rate with no prior experience or a lower sales job, even after my raises over the years and merit. I found out later the other retail stores in the company by district didn't all do this and I'm getting screwed by my grams. I brought it up and was told, well, we are a bad market, and those other stores are better markets, so just deal with it. A lot of people transfer and commute to bigger store. The GM at my employer currently told the guy she was promoting to supervisor that he would be fired if he discussed his pay. He got $50 per hour, which boosted him to $9 per hour, which is standard, but now they are hiring staff at $9.50 per hour. We had to work in the lab, even when the water was off in the building. This came from up high. Our lab boss just told us to look busy and do paperwork, so we would not get hurt. But the department chair thought it was fine to work without the ability to wash your hands or use the safety shower. Also, the bathrooms did not work, but apparently that is not something an employer has to provide. I worked in a mine site and our lab had the water shut off for a day to replace a pipe that was corroded. We had portable eye wash stations that were pressurized with air, so we were able to continue working. If we didn't have those stations, no work would have been performed that day because that is absolutely a legitimate safety concern. Completely unacceptable. You should have called OSHA. We're prohibited from attending and participating in any type of political gathering and or protest. We're also prohibited from using personal money to donate to charity. Why would you ever be forbidden to donate to charity? I think they want people to have the donation come directly from the paycheck, so the company can get tax benefits. There was a similar thread a while ago where the company basically strong-armed their employees into doing this every month so the company could rake in benefits. Why is a company getting the benefits? If I donate to charity, even if it's through my paycheck, I still get the tax write-off, not them. If they match, I'm assuming they get a tax write-off for the portion they donate, but that would leave them with money going out, as well as a benefit. My last job forced everyone to come in 15 minutes early before the store opened at 10 AM, and your employment was threatened if you weren't there for this 9:45 meeting. However, we only got paid to work from 10-6. Say what you will about it just being 15 minutes, but that adds up over the course of the year into around $1,000 plus a year that was unaccounted for. Anyone know if that's actually illegal? I quit because of tiny BS like this throughout the establishment, but no one else really fought back on this rule. While I thought it was ridiculous, definitely illegal, and you can file a wage claim with no issues, the burden of proof that they paid you will be on them. Victims or witnesses to a crime on our property are not allowed to call 911. If there's a crime committed there, anything ranging from a small petty theft up to rape or murder, We are to notify our direct manager first, even if the manager isn't working that day. Then that manager is to call his or her manager, who then calls the security office about the incident, and together they decide whether or not to call the police. Thankfully, this hasn't happened yet. I work in a restaurant located in a mall. We had a rather serious situation that required us to call the police. They come, resolve the issue, take statements, leave, all good. The next day the mall manager and head of security tell us we broke the rules by directly calling the police. The only thing the security guy carries is a radio. What good were you going to do against some drunk with a weapon? Call the police? For your information, in many states you can't be fired for taking necessary actions to protect yourself or others, even if those actions violate company policy. There was a case in Utah recently where 2 security officers tackled a guy with a gun, were fired for violating a policy against physical confrontation, and won a court case over it. You didn't say if you got in any real trouble for this, but thought you might want to know that, if something does happen, you may or may not have a case, depending on where you live. It sure sounds like someone is up to something illegal at your place of employment. Curiousness. I would like a follow-up on this place. This is in violation of OSHA's retaliation rules. Specifically, you are allowed to report safety issues, and to seek help from the appropriate agency, in this case emergency response, without fear of repercussion. Get the written policy and send it to OSHA. Source: I'm HR professional. Just quit today, but I'm 99% sure you can't take a break unless you order something off the menu. I've never had a break there except when I sneak into the bathroom and pretend to take a poo just to sit down. My last job worked me full-time hours but called me a part-timer to get me out of benefits. I got out of there as quickly as I could. Your state labor board would love to hear from you. This is standard practice for employment by the state of Delaware. They are called seasonal employees, but work year-round positions at full-time hours. Yep. Rehoboth Beach has a ton of foreigners working seasonal jobs. The conditions they work it at all those t-shirt shops on the avenue is messed up. Someone close to me is a manager in action but not in title or pay, and their boss is apparently real shady with pay. I do the same thing at Best Buy. And when a full-time spot opened up, they hired a guy who had never worked at a Best Buy before, and kept me as part-time working 40 hours. I work part-time at USPS. I get around 50 hours a week and miss out on a ton of benefits even though I work more often than the full-time regulars. I'm in Canada, and after so long of these types of hours it can no longer be considered a part-time position since it's clearly needed. This is a federal position I'm speaking of but may pertain elsewhere. As an example, I am in the final stages of being hired for a 2-year temp position, but I get full-time hours, just not a permanent position. After the 3-year mark they are required to hire me permanently, as that job is no longer a temp position due to the time it was needed. I check to see if something like that exists where you are. Could be a certain number or hours, etc., that could require your job to put you as full-time. Maybe not though. Not my current workplace but my last one. We'd fill out timesheets up to 4 weeks in advance and got told to just put 8 hours a day in each day. If we worked more than 8 hours a day, happened frequently, we got told that the timesheet said 8, so that's what we were paid for. Anybody who refused to fill them out ahead of time usually got let go pretty soon thereafter. Fill out 4 weeks of timesheets, don't show up for work, wait 4 weeks, sue for unpaid wages, boss has to either pay you or admit to violating labor laws. What pre-filled out timesheets? I don't got no pre-filled out timesheets. This place is so messy they are probably in last week's trash, or the shredder, or a bucket of cement on the bottom of the river. Who knows? In the US, FLSA regulations require employers to keep payroll records for 3 years, and timesheets for 2 years. These can be inspected at any time, and the fines for non-compliance are steep. In most, all, states you should be able to sue for unpaid wages. Walmart lost a case in Virginia about a decade ago for having employees work on breaks. Even people that were no longer employed received compensation. I, thankfully, don't work there anymore, but even if I did, there becomes the issue of proving you worked those hours. They have signed timesheets saying you worked 8 and bosses who will likely corroborate that. Like and subscribe for more daily Reddit videos.